You were a child, not their emotional support system. A parent could be sad in front of you. A family could have hard days. That is not what this film is naming. The role changes when an adult's emotional stability becomes your assignment. Keep them calm, absorb the loneliness, mediate the conflict, prove they are loved, stop the family from falling apart. A child can care about a parent. A child should not be made responsible for keeping that parent emotionally intact. That reversal is often called emotional parentification. It names a role, not a diagnosis. It rarely arrives with a formal demand. It can look like hearing details about money or marriage you cannot influence, being asked which parent is right, monitoring the room before you speak, receiving adult secrets you are not allowed to share. You get called mature because you can carry what should never have been handed to you. The adult may be overwhelmed rather than malicious. Their pain may be completely real. The role is still developmentally upside down. The person with less power becomes the emotional brace for the person with more. Because your safety and belonging depend on adults, you may learn that their distress is an emergency and your needs are a threat, so you scan tone, footsteps, silence, facial shifts. You rehearse the right answer. You apologize before anyone accuses you. You become useful before you become visible. Years later, the same learning may appear as panic when someone is disappointed, compulsive explaining, rescuing people who did not ask, or feeling guilty while resting. These are possible echoes, not proof of one childhood story. The point is simpler. A role practiced for years can feel like personality long after the emergency has ended. Research can support a bounded claim, not a verdict. A 2023 mixed method systematic review examined 95 studies of parentification. Emotional parentification was more consistently linked with depressive symptoms and other internalizing difficulties than instrumental parentification, but the studies were heterogeneous, and context, support, culture, perceived fairness, and other conditions mattered. Some participants also described competence, connection, or resilience. That means neither harm nor growth is guaranteed, and an association does not establish what caused one person's distress. Research does not get to diagnose your family from a video. It can tell us that making children carry adult emotional roles is a serious risk worth naming. Here is the distinction. Was the care age-appropriate? Could you say no without being punished, abandoned, or made responsible for what happened next? Was the adult also seeking support from other adults? Did the request end, or did your availability become permanent infrastructure? Ordinary chores and a child comforting a grieving parent do not automatically equal parentification. Families are interdependent. Children can contribute. The line is crossed when adult regulation is repeatedly transferred downward, and the child's development, choices, or emotional reality must shrink around it. Care can be mutual. Responsibility for an adult's stability belongs with the adult and appropriate adult support. The first boundary does not have to be an announcement. It can begin as a private correction. This feeling is real, and it is not mine to manage. Pause before answering. Ask what was actually requested. Decide what you can offer without becoming the solution. Then use one short sentence. I can listen for 10 minutes, but I cannot mediate this. I care about you, and I am not discussing your relationship. I cannot be the only person you call for this. You do not need to submit a 20-minute defense. Offer a reason if it helps. When the conversation becomes a tribunal on whether you may have a limit, stop defending the limit and keep it. Do not solve this by naming them. Look at what happens after the limit. Respect is visible when another person can be upset, ask a question, and still leave the boundary standing. A coercive pattern may change the subject from your limit to your character, revive old favors as debt, create a new emergency, or withdraw warmth until you resume the old role. That recurring sequence matters more than any diagnosis. Match your response to the risk. Slow the exchange, shorten contact, and keep accurate records where money, work, custody, or safety raises the stakes. If you are a dependent child, tell a safe adult who can act. When changing the role could trigger stalking, threats, violence, or retaliation, do not stage a confrontation as a test of progress. Put safety first and seek qualified help where you live. Giving the role back may feel cruel before it feels honest. Grief can follow. Grief for the parent you wanted, for the childhood that became a job, for the identity built around being needed. You do not have to erase love to stop performing the assignment. Love can remain even when the assignment ends. Compassion is not conscription. Connection is not emotional custody. You are allowed to be a son, daughter, partner, or friend without becoming a human life support system for another adult. Their feelings were real. Their suffering may have been real. You were still a child. You were never supposed to keep an adult emotionally intact.